Hello, history buffs and travel enthusiasts, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're embarking on a journey back in time to explore one of the most awe-inspiring structures ever created by human hands, the Great Wall of China. What comes to mind when you hear its name? A massive, ancient fortification snaking across rugged mountains? You're not wrong, but there's so much more to this story. Located in northern China, the Great Wall is rightly celebrated as one of the new seven wonders of the world. In its native Mandarin, it's called Changcheng, which simply means the Long Wall, and long it is. But its story isn't about one single wall, but a monumental project spanning centuries, dynasties, and the very soul of a nation. So, grab your virtual passport, and let's unravel the epic history and fascinating facts behind this architectural marvel. Our story begins long before China was a unified empire, way back in the 7th century BC. This was the spring and autumn period, a time when China was a patchwork of rival kingdoms. To protect their borders from each other and from nomadic tribes from the north, these states, like the Qi, Yan, and Zhao, started building defensive walls. Think of them as ancient security fences, made of packed earth and gravel. These weren't the grand stone structure we picture today, but they were the seeds from which the Great Wall would grow. For centuries, these individual walls served their purpose, marking territories and offering a first line of defense in a fragmented land. Everything changed in 221 BC. A formidable leader, Qin Shi Huang, conquered all rival states and forged them into a single unified China, establishing the Qin dynasty and declaring himself the first emperor. He was a visionary, but also a ruthless ruler. To protect his new empire from the persistent threat of the Xiongnu tribes from the north, he conceived a project of unprecedented scale: connect and fortify the existing walls into one colossal defensive system. This was the true birth of the Great Wall as we conceptualize it. The emperor ordered his general, Meng Tian, to lead this massive undertaking. Now, let's talk about how this incredible structure was actually built. The logistics are mind-boggling, even by today's standards. The workforce was a vast army of people from all walks of life. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers were stationed on the front lines, tasked with both building and defending. They were joined by an even larger number of conscripted peasants, pulled from their farms to labor on the state's grand project. And then there were the convicts and political prisoners, sentenced to the hardest labor imaginable. Conditions were brutal. The work was physically demanding, the terrain was unforgiving, and the climate was extreme, swinging from scorching summers to freezing winters. Food and water were often scarce. It's a dark but important part of the story that an estimated 400,000 people perished during the wall's construction under the Qin dynasty alone. This has led to the wall being tragically referred to as the longest cemetery on Earth. The bodies of many workers were said to be buried within the wall itself, though modern archaeology has found little evidence to support this specific claim. Nevertheless, their sacrifice is woven into the very fabric of the wall. The materials used were a testament to the builders' resourcefulness, using whatever was available locally. In the plains, they used a technique called rammed earth, where they would build a wooden frame and pack it tightly with layers of earth, gravel, and wood, pounding it down until it was as hard as rock. In the mountains, they quarried massive blocks of stone. The iconic brick and stone sections we see in most photos today were primarily built during the Ming dynasty, much later. They even developed an early form of mortar using rice flour mixed with lime, which created an incredibly strong and durable bond. So, just how long is the Great Wall? This is a question with a surprisingly complex answer. If you measure all the sections ever built by every dynasty, the total length is a staggering 21,196 kilometers, or just over 13,000 miles. To put that into perspective, that's like traveling from New York to Los Angeles and back twice. It's important to understand that it's not one continuous, unbroken wall. It's a complex network of fortifications. It includes walls, watchtowers, barracks, fortresses, and beacon towers used for signaling. These towers were strategically placed on high points, allowing soldiers to send smoke signals by day and light fires by night to quickly communicate and relay messages about enemy movements along the frontier. A message could travel hundreds of miles in just a few hours, a remarkable feat of ancient communication. So, what was the wall's primary purpose? The most obvious answer is defense. It was built to stop or at least slow down invasions from northern nomadic groups, most famously the Mongols. The height and width of the wall were designed to be difficult for horsemen to scale. The watchtowers provided excellent vantage points for spotting approaching armies, and the fortresses housed troops who could be quickly deployed to fend off an attack. But the wall was more than just a military barrier. It also served as a form of border control, allowing the empire to regulate trade along the Silk Road. Merchants and caravans would have to pass through designated gates, or passes, where officials could tax goods and control who entered and exited the empire. In this sense, it was also a powerful political statement. It was a physical demarcation of the boundary between the settled, agricultural civilization of China and the nomadic cultures of the steppe. It symbolized the emperor's power, the unity of the nation, and the Chinese determination to protect their way of life. The Great Wall we see and visit today is mostly the work of the Ming dynasty, which ruled from 1368 to 1644. After overthrowing the Mongol-led Yuan dynasty, the Ming emperors were obsessed with preventing a Mongol resurgence. They undertook a massive renovation and expansion project, building taller, stronger, and more sophisticated walls using brick and stone. This is the Great Wall of our imagination, with its crenellated battlements and iconic watchtowers winding majestically over the mountain ridges north of Beijing. Despite its grandeur, the wall ultimately failed in its primary military purpose. In 1644, Manchu armies from the north breached the wall, not by force, but through betrayal at the Shanhai Pass, and went on to conquer China, establishing the Qing dynasty. After this, the wall lost its military significance and gradually fell into disrepair. For centuries, sections of the wall crumbled, were scavenged for building materials by local villagers, or were simply swallowed by nature. But in the 20th century, a new appreciation for the wall emerged. It was no longer seen as a failed military defense, but as a proud symbol of the Chinese nation's endurance and rich history. In 1987, its global importance was officially recognized when UNESCO designated it a World Heritage Site, acknowledging it as a masterpiece of human creative genius. Today, the Great Wall of China is one of the most famous tourist destinations on the planet, drawing millions of visitors each year. Standing on its ancient stones, you can't help but feel a profound connection to the past. You can almost hear the echoes of marching soldiers and the whispers of the laborers who gave their sweat, and sometimes their lives, to build it. It's a powerful testament to human ambition, perseverance, and incredible engineering skill. From a defensive barrier to a symbol of national identity, the Great Wall of China has stood for over 2 millennia. It's more than just bricks and stone. It's a story written across landscapes and through time. A story of emperors and soldiers, of conflict and culture, of immense sacrifice and enduring legacy. It reminds us that with a shared purpose and unwavering will, humanity can achieve the seemingly impossible. Thank you so much for joining us on this incredible journey to the Great Wall of China. What part of its history do you find most fascinating? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next adventure. Until next time, keep exploring.